And because it was Perry Farrell and Jane's Addiction. This is late 80s, and they had really blown up in L.A. And Lollapalooza was supposed to be their farewell tour. Like, everybody attributes the Gen X, grunge and all that to really blowing things up. But Jane's Addiction blew that scene wide open even before Nirvana. And Lollapalooza was supposed to be the farewell tour for Jane's Addiction. They were breaking up. They couldn't stand each other. They're like, it's time to go. They had they weren't together forever, but they had a bit of a good run. And so Perry Farrell goes, I want to do a massive blowout tour. I want to have a bunch of opening acts for us. I want to have mixed media. I want to have booths with artists and mixed politics. He's like, I want to have the PETA booth next to the NRA booth. And it didn't turn out that way. It was, mostly, more lefty on the political thing. But they had Greenpeace booths and pro-choice and Rock the Vote and handgun control and all this stuff that was very much of the time. There's a scene where there were a bunch of kids lined up, just to give you a snapshot of that time. You're talking 1991 was the first Lollapalooza. And they had footage of kids lined up to sign a petition to block Clarence Thomas's nomination to the Supreme Court, because even then they knew the guy was a scumbag. So Perry Farrell had used the Reading Festival in the UK as this blueprint, because nobody had done a touring festival. There were these massive one-day things, but nobody had done a touring festival. So they're like, we just thought it would be a cool idea. We didn't know what we were doing. We figured out how to do it. The first tour was 28 cities, including Cleveland. They came to Blossom on that first Lollapalooza. I don't know how many people in this audience went to that. And 1991, alternative rock and roll was not even like really a thing. It wasn't a genre that even came close to selling venues like Blossom. So they didn't know what to expect. This is all pre-grunge. And so, but they sell the thing. Like, I went to the stop in Chicago. They sold 30,000 tickets. This place called the World Music Theater. It's still there. I don't know what it's called now, and they sat around the room. And Perry Farrell and the guys in the band and the other guys that were going to put Lollapalooza together, they go, what are the bands you guys would like? And they just all threw a name of a band out, and they got all of them except the Pixies. So they got Living Colour, and they got Ice-T and Body Count, and they got Susie and the Banshees. They got 9 Inch Nails, who nobody really knew. They hadn't blown up yet. And Living Colour got the Pixies spot. They were coming off the Rolling Stones tour. That's when I saw Living Colour. I liked them a lot. That's what began my storied history of going for the opener.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Everybody gives me a hard time because there are way more shows where I'm going for the opener. It's just how it works out.
Interesting. You're one of the few.
Living Colour. Now there are plenty of shows where I'm obviously going for the headliner, and I'll skip the opener. But on a night where I want to see the opener and I can dip out, it's beautiful. Don't have to worry about traffic, anything like that, right? So I had seen Living Colour open for the Rolling Stones. Now, I did stay for the Rolling Stones because even in 1989, everybody thought, well, these guys are clearly going to hang it up pretty soon, so this might be the last time we get to see them. So Living Colour got the Pixies spot on the first Lollapalooza tour. And there was a big, big gap in rock and roll for black artists. So it was a bit, you went like Jimi Hendrix, nothing, and then Living Colour. There had been other people along the way. There had been Tony McAlpine, and there had been Doug Pinnick, and there had been John Butcher and Fishbone. But those were like not big draws, right? So, and Living Colour was such a big deal because it was a rock band. They were black. They were on MTV. They were on the radio. Tom Morello is in this documentary, and he's like, if Living Colour had not existed, Rage Against the Machine flat out does not get a record contract. He's like, we owe those guys a whole lot. Ice-T has long hair, and he's doing, he's out there with Body Count. And it's a little bit after the Rodney King beatings. And so, if anybody remembers back to that time, Ice-T and Body Count took a lot of heat because they had a song called Cop Killer. And he meant it as a metaphor for, other things. But this Lollapalooza crowd, it's 99% white kids because they're the ones who can afford the tickets and they can afford the merch and the whole thing. And so they kick this thing off in Phoenix, and they don't know what to expect. They kind of have an idea of how many tickets they've sold, but they start in Phoenix. And it's a lot of kids wearing black head to toe, and it's 106 degrees in Phoenix. So like Nine Inch Nails is talking, it's a very young Trent Reznor and a very young Rich Patrick who did Buzzard Fest last year with Filter. And they bailed mid-set because their equipment melted, basically, He's like, we were the only band playing, electronic music like that, and rock and roll was not a thing. So it was embarrassing because basically our tape machine melted. So this Lollapalooza documentary, for anybody who's a Gen Xer, it is a fascinating look at that time. It's also interesting to me in that things don't really change that much generation to generation, right? I mean, Perry Farrell is 65 now. He's had work done. He had it done a while ago, but he looks like Joan Rivers. That's the most off-putting thing about it, is that Perry Farrell had a facelift or something a while ago, and he's very, very smooth, and he's always been very thin. But Lollapalooza, he's like, obviously, we didn't realize what it was going to become, because after that success of that first one, they're like, well, we have to do this again. And then you got the Chili Peppers, who hadn't really blown up yet. Pearl Jam, who their first album hadn't even come out yet. And so it's very interesting. But again, to me, the takeaway was like, it's when you contrast it with what's going on with kids in their late teens and early 20s, not like there's really every generation has got something that they are intent on rejecting from the previous generation, because that's what it's supposed to be. Like my generation were products of like parents who were hippies and then became yuppies. That wasn't my parents. My parents were super square, right? My dad was military. My mom was Roman Catholic. That wasn't me. But I had a lot of friends whose parents were hippies. And peace and love, man. And then they, started buying Mercedes and things like that. And it's like, so it's anybody who's around my age, if you're a Gen Xer, don't sleep on this Lollapalooza documentary, because it's really, I think it's only 3 parts.
What is it on? What streaming device?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah. But it's very entertaining.
Where is the Warped Tour one? That's what I want.
There probably is one, right?
There's got to be.
I mean,
there's probably one in. If there's not one yet, there will be one.
Yeah.
What about Fire Festival?
Fire Festival
We already
again.
got that one.
They already did 2 of those.
Yeah, we've already got that one.
Yeah.
Wait, speaking of documentaries, did you guys tap into the Ashley Madison
Yeah, I watched that.
scandal whole documentary?
We've talked about it, but I haven't watched it.
I finally did. That
Okay.
was very
What'd you think?
interesting.
I thought it was weird. So, spoiler alert: there's a couple on there, and the guy was caught, and then he said, "Oh, I just signed up. I never did anything." And then he did come clean and said that he did do a bunch of stuff, and they're still married.
Still married.
And I was just like,
that was the part that, like, I was just mad.
yeah,
I was like, girl,
because
you're an
they
idiot.
didn't even go to like couples counseling. They went to a pastor that's like, yeah, you guys should just figure this out. And it's just like,
But they did figure it out. What's the matter with a ride or die? That's what ride or die is.
Well, she's silly.
It's their relationship.
That one was just weird. Again, I don't want to like do any spoil too much, but this couple, like basically, seemingly a perfect couple.
Before we get too deep into this, what's your stance on cheating? Because if Pound Cake were here, he says you can do it if you do it respectfully.
Wait, I don't think I was here for one of those conversations with Pound Cake. How do you cheat respectively?
Unfortunately, he's not here to explain it, but he said the crux of it was that there are ways that some people do it, and it's really sloppy and overt. Doing it respectfully is to make sure that
Like
all your
going to a
T's are crossed,
hotel.
all your I's are dotted.
Like basically, don't embarrass me type thing. Like cheat, but don't embarrass me.
Well, not that the other person even knows about it. His whole point was like, don't flaunt it. Do your business.
Clean cheat.
Don't break anybody's heart.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't really, am not into cheating. No, I don't think so.
She's not into it. Sorry, guys.
Not into that. But yeah, this couple, like seemingly they're perfect, just just got these beautiful children. They're a good-looking couple.
Is this
He's
the one, the YouTube family?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
That's the thing is there's a lot of Christian influencers
Yes.
in this thing. Yeah.
And so he says, like, there was just something missing, and I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't my sex life because my wife was satisfying me, but there was just something I needed. So I got on just to chat with people and all this. Then fast forward, they do this like Frozen song, and it goes viral on YouTube. And he was like, that's what I needed.
Do?
Yes. He's like, that's what I needed. I just needed attention from millions of people. And now I feel worthy. And now I don't need Ashley Madison anymore. And so he gets off the app. And then, the whole leak happened. And so his name gets brought up because now they're like YouTube stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like on TV shows that they made it a living.
Got 2 million YouTube subscribers.
So then he finally comes clean. And he's like, I've been cheating since like the day we met.
Yeah.
So I guess what I don't understand is, companies are dealing with data breaches all the time. We're all getting emails. Hey, you might have heard about whatever websites we're on, right?
Right.
Financial stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Hey, some of your data leaked. We're offering you a free month of data protection. Like, too little, too late, homie. But here's what I don't understand. When that story first broke about the Ashley Madison data leak, everybody who was on that site was puckering up, right? How does that information get public? To the point where they're making a because most data doesn't become public. It's just ones and zeros in the ether, right?
There was a group of hackers that made it public, and then...
Oh, they data dumped the info.
Yeah, and then people went the next step and made it into a database where you could literally just type in a name or email address and see if somebody's information was on there.
I pictured the people on Ashley Madison finding out, like when Chris D'Elia found out that Snapchat was oh, really? It doesn't. You can't text teenagers and people find out?
Well, delete?
They were saying
It's all deletes. And they're like, no, people can save it. And they're like,
What? Well, Ashley Madison then became like an international site. And so they're showing, it was in France and Australia. And so when the whole database leaked, Australia made it a bit like you guys would on a radio show, and they would have people call in live and be like, hi, can you look up my husband's name? And they would do it live on the air, and they'd be like, we're sorry to say, your husband is on there. And then these women would freak out like that. And that would
I hate to tell you that's most likely 100% fake, too. Because those women could have all Googled their husband's names in Ashley Madison. But the hook with Ashley Madison, when that whole thing first broke and that CEO was taking all kinds of crap, in the public forum, whatever. You get it. But people are individual. They can do whatever the hell they want to do, right? Mm-hmm. But they were trying to market that site as, it's not just guys. There's women too, except it's 98% guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a part of the documentary.
The big part of the fraud case that is against them, where it was like employees would reply on behalf of women. Like it was a real woman's
bots.
account, but then they like reply on behalf of them and like just to keep the numbers up. So guys,
so
they were fake profiles
they were
too.
scamming people too.
Yeah,
yes, they would take like for instance, like they would take my photos and get on there, and then they would message a guy and be like, hi, how are you? And then they would have full-blown conversations but would never meet up with them. But to be on Ashley Madison, these men had to pay for credits to chat.
Yeah.
So that was their way of making money. So a lot of these were bots.
Yeah.
And then they also had all these commercials on there targeting women, like you should be on here. And they would say that the site was like 40 to 60, like 40% women, 60% men.
Right.
But when probably 30% of those women were bots.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
Yeah, women don't need to go on a website to find some dude.
Right.
But for somebody like you, it must be entirely apart from an Ashley Madison situation. You hear all the time about girls whose photo is just plucked and then put into an ad for something, and you don't know, right? They're like, the girls who are on Instagram or whatever, they're not fitness influencers or anything. They're just pretty and young. And they find out their photo got plucked and put into like a phone sex ad or something.
All you do is take a screenshot and then you can use whatever photo.
Yeah.
Or people just make fake profiles. Mm-hmm. I've gotten that. People are like, hi, I'm assuming this isn't you that's messaging me.
That has happened to you?
Yeah. And they'll send me like screenshots. I'm like, no, that's not me.
Right.
But they'll actually use my name too. Just like kind of switch it around. It's like Bridget Linton 08. And they'll like literally steal my entire profile.
Wow.
And I've gotten that before. I'm like, what? People are so weird.
Yeah, scammers be scamming.
And they do. And usually it's about money. I'm like, well, if you send me $500, I'll send a photo. But it's not, it's like a hacker doing it.
Right.
Well, pursuant to the conversation we were having before the break, first thing I thought too was there's got to be a woman on the radio who goes by Ashley Madison somewhere. You know, that's such a chick radio name, like a fake radio name, Ashley. Hi guys, mornings with Ashley Madison. You know, I was like,
that was
boy,
my
there's
first
somebody
question.
out there.
Like watching this documentary, I'm like, I wonder how they came up with that name. And within the first 5 minutes, they say. Like,
They do? Where did they get it?
And they were just like, it just sounds like sophisticated. And those were two popular names at the time, like Ashley Madison.
Sophisticated.
I know, that's what I thought. I'm like, Ashley and Madison are sophisticated?
Right.
And put it together? It's,
Well, I guess if they had called it like, Dame Lady Swarthington or something like that, we're like, what is this, a GILF site? That's no good. Yeah, well, no, I haven't seen that yet, but it's
well,
it sounds-
Lollapalooza and Ashley Madison.
Yeah,
two documentaries. All listeners need to take a viewing.
It just sounds like everybody dunking on the YouTubers and the Christian influencers, though, too. Why would you agree to be in the documentary, by the way?
That's what I was wondering.
I'm always curious why people agree to be in documentaries like that, unless they're told that it's going to be something different. And
Well, it seems like this guy just really likes attention, so he probably heard Netflix documentary, like, oh, I'm going to be even more famous.
Yeah, more people are going to come and watch
I
our
just
channel.
think he's kind of just like a lunatic. But the whole time...
Narcissist is the word.
Right, yes, narcissist. All 3 episodes, him and his wife are interviewed separately, so you're led to think, like, obviously their marriage didn't work out. And then the final words from them, they're sitting on a couch together. She's like, and as a wife, I decided to be a good wife and forgive him. And I'm glad this all happened because now we're stronger than ever. I'm like, oh my God.
But isn't that what you have to do if you're a Christian, is forgive people? I thought that was the whole thing. Everybody dunks on this thing that everybody pretends to believe in all the time.
Like, listen, all right, husband, you cheated on me several times. You even paid money to be on a site to cheat on me. But guess what? It's all about forgiveness.
Well, I guess if
forgive
it's
you.
several times, I thought maybe this was a one thing. That,
No, he was even like going after her friends and like people.
I
like
see.
he was real scummy.
Oh, then she should have cut bait.
Yeah, she said that he even hit on her best friend.
Yeah.
And she was so confused why her best friend just cut her out of her life.
Yeah.
Well, then it comes to find out, oh, it's because my husband was hitting on you. I thought it was
Wow.
weird that the friend didn't tell
She
her.
didn't tell her,
Right,
yeah.
But also, and she's like, yeah, so he made me lose one of my best friends. Like, he's just been cheating. So this whole time you're led to believe she finally comes to her
Oh, I
senses, like,
see.
oh, he's the worst. But no.
Well, they got kids. Probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, is this the guy that cheats on his wife all the time?
I'm the guy who shot the Ashley Madison documentary.
Oh, okay. Nice. It was
tell you
pretty
what.
good. It's pretty interesting.
I couldn't believe all those people agreed to be in it.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They get excited.
I'm hitting all these dummies up and I'm going, hey, I'm going to do a documentary about that website you're on. And they go, oh, LinkedIn? I go, no. Facebook? No. These people are so stupid. They asked me 4 or 5 different websites. Finally, I said, yes, I'm doing a documentary on DoorDash. Do you want to be in it? Have you ever ordered DoorDash? And the one guy goes, well, I was using Ashley Madison for the same thing. I was ordering something to eat.
It's one of those something on the side.
You get it, Bill? You get it?
I get it. I get it.
Oh, you get it? Oh, man. Hey, Bill.
Yo,
Who's the hottie that's in there today?
that's Alan Cox. He's in here every week.
No, I know that.
Okay.
Who's the other one?
Oh.
Is that Ashley Madison?
Yeah, it's me, Ashley Madison.
Hey, Ashley Madison.
That's Bridget the Midget.
Oh,
You can call me by either name.
Yeah.
I answer to both.
I've seen Bridget the Midget's videos too. She wasn't part of the Ashley Madison documentary.
Hardest working woman in show business.
She really was. I think she's dead now.
Oh.
Buried her in a very tiny casket. Face down.
Cremate her with a match.
Well, I think she's down here now. Hey, listen, I gotta go tend to some business.
All right.
I gotta go, I got a whole staff of people working on fake chick bots for Ashley Madison, so I gotta
Sounds
go.
good, man.
All right, take
Enjoy
care,
it.
guys. Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend.
All right. Wait, is the weekend coming up?
Starts tomorrow, but it's a long weekend. It's,
What time tomorrow?
probably around 6:08.
Oh, cool. All right. I like to know when my weekend begins. So.